Hello Duelists, it's Tombox here, welcome to MST.TV, and I've got a hot discussion for you guys, and this discussion is whether or not Spyrals need an E Ban. Of course, this thought has come across your head, whether you're playing Spyrals or facing off against Spyrals. Seeing the statistics coming from YCS Dallas, it's no surprise that, we're thinking that there might be an E Ban. Just because the deck is so dominant, I'm actually comparing this with back in the day of the previous E Ban, or the adjusted list. That was from YCS Sydney's time for Pepe. They actually got to play it at full powered, and then I believe there was at least one or two regionals that actually caught the cutoff before the adjusted list kicked in. Now let's actually look at the numbers between the two tournaments of YCS Dallas versus Sydney of 2016. Sydney of 2016 has a representation of, well, 70 to 80% of the Pepe, performable pendulums or performable performage, whatever Pepe you decide to acronym. And that deck was, well, 70 to 80%, and then the remaining seats were taken by Mermails and Artifact Cosmos. Now, if you look at Link Spyrals and our current YCS Dallas, they took about a 90% cut of the top 32, and then our remaining little fraction was Trickstars and Hand Trap Invoked. That's very little. I mean, we're talking about like 29 to 30 seats that are taken by the top deck. And clearly, looking at this, there is a clear winner. There's a clear top cut deck here, and that's probably the tier 0. By any standard right now, whether it be like 60% and above, it's tier 0, or you're one of those guys that are like, it has to be 80% above, this is tier 0. There's no other deck that can really compete against it since the win rate is so high and they're so well represented up top. Now, when Konami released the article about the adjusted list for February, note that they did mention and acknowledge the fact that Pepe was one of the strongest deck, if not the strongest deck of the format. And seeing how Spyrals is kind of doing the same thing, and remember, these are both the first tournament that, or first major tournament that these decks were able to play in. And are we going to see a similar footstep followed by Konami into taking down Spyrals down a notch so that everything else can compete? There's a possibility. And how about would they do it? Now, if we look at how they previously hit Pepe, the hit was pretty damn severe. And to give you guys some of the context of how Pepe was hit, they were actually quite crippled. They took 12 cards out of their main deck and 1 card out of the extra deck. The extra deck card was Ptolemaeus, and effectively took out Cyber Dragon Infinity as well, since, well, that card couldn't stay in there either, since without Ptolemaeus you had no access. And for the main deck, we lost 3 Plush Fires, we lost 3 copies of the Damage Juggler, 2 copies of Skullcrobat, 2 copies of Luster Pendulum, and 2 copies of Monkey Board, basically limiting each of those to 1. And that was pretty brutal. That's 12 cards out of the deck. However, the deck did survive and basically evolved into Draco Pals, so it just proves that Konami does know what they're doing. And one thing to note about the adjusted list is most of the things that were banned off or hit, they weren't like your secret rares of the deck. They were just commons and stuff that was already available for some time. So it wasn't like you invested a lot of money into these cards. So judging by that, how they're planning like a ban list or anything, Link Spyrals or Spiral cards, they're not exactly high rarity themselves. You didn't spend a huge fortune like Zodiac. Zodiac had so many secret rares and so many ultra rares that it was very difficult to not hurt player confidence and the buyer's confidence when it came to this game. And they have to maintain that pretty high because, people will leave the game if they don't. And seeing how Circuit Break have a very similar kind of release, the Strudel was only a rare, and of course Double Helix was only an ultra, it makes it so that you didn't spend as much money, so you're, I guess, not as attached compared to most other decks that if you drop like a huge amount of, money on. Hypothetically, say we do hit Spyrals, how would we go about hitting it? And I would love to hear your thoughts down below on how you would hit Spyrals, and whether or not you would just completely cripple them and move them off of the tier 0 list, or maybe you'll just hit them so that they level the playing field so that other decks can play too. That's something I want to hear. Or maybe they don't deserve a hit at all. You can leave that there. You can be that guy. Okay, so I'm going to go into how I would actually hit Spyrals. And this deck, I believe, has 4 power pillars in this deck that should take a hit. The first one being Quick Fix. First of all, it does not contain once per turn. Insert your 4 really powerful cards with that exact same 1 copy, and it's a machine dupe target. So combined with all these things together, it gets just gives you a ton of advantage very, very quickly within the first turn, and you can just out-advantage your opponent quite easily. And the 4 cards that you can search are, well, the big red card, Premature Burial, a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which would be the utility wire. You can search your drone, and you can also search for Last Resort. 4 really nice cards to search. And if you machine dupe that, you're just going to search basically all your Spiral Gear cards out of the deck. Now, I don't think that machine dupe and Spiral Quick Fix should be a combo. If they are a combo, well, guess what? You basically won the game, and that just, well, really sucks for anyone that doesn't have an Ash Blossom in their hand or a Max C. They can't answer this. So my suggestion is putting this card at 1 if we do get an E ban for this, because if you put this card at 1, the machine dupe combo is gone, which is huge, and even old Spiral played triple quick fix, so that actually hurts them as well. So in other words, one of the classic combos of the deck would be removed, and the control of the quick fix will determine the skill level of a player, because you got to be extra careful when you remove this card off the field when it's summoned from its own effect from the graveyard, because it's going to get banished, and then if it gets banished, well, you don't have to deal with it anymore. And then it also makes it vulnerable to DD Crow. So the mirror match will suck a little more. And the second card that I believe is a bit of an issue is Double Helix. Although hitting Double Helix doesn't exactly do very much. If you hit Double Helix, well, to most cases, people don't really care. But if you put Double Helix to 1, that means if you do answer the Double Helix, the Double Helix play become much more linear, as they're only going to be accessing it from the graveyard from then on. You're never going to worry about, oh my god, my opponent has 2 Spiral monsters on the field. He's just going to do his wombo combo all over again, and I'm just going to lose. So that line of play kind of gets shut off and gets cut short. The third power pillar, I believe, is Spiral Resort, and hitting Spiral Resort actually makes it a bit more interesting, because Master Plan also takes a hit because of this. If we limit it down to 1, it is basically the ultimate Rhoda. You can search for any of your Spiral cards. In other words, the missing piece will always be able to be searched. And it also has that blanketing, non-targeting of Spiral cards. Yeah, that hurts too. But by limiting it down to 1, I think it's pretty fair. First of all, if they didn't open with a card in hand and they did the Master Plan, send it to the graveyard as a link thing, they can get the search. Fine, fair enough. You didn't have it to begin with. You just happen to have the combos to go there. Give you that. But if you did open with it and then you got to the Master Plan, search the Spiral mission card, if you send this to the grave now you're not going to get that double search, and I think that is actually quite painful. And it also hurts the terraforming and the set rotation stuff, so it kind of ruins the consistency in that angle as well, so maybe it will slow the deck down. And the fourth card that I think should take a bit of a hit is actually the Super Agent. Why hit the Super Agent? Because in the context of what we're seeing right now in terms of play, the Spiral deck is actually putting a Baguska out to secure the game. And Baguska is, well, very powerful. It shuts off the other Spiral player from even being able to play. And you're just going to see people go into like 2 agents, and then they're going to use Firewall to summon out one of the agents, and then use the agent's effect to summon themselves, and then they go into a Baguska that's protected by an IB, and oh my god, now I actually just can't play the game anymore because it's a protected walking skill drain with legs. So by putting Spiral Super Agent down to 1, we're cutting off the flexibility of going into the Baguska play without, the additional support of the other level 4s in the archetype. And also lowering the odds of a Double Helix being put on board through the use of a drone and, well, the Super Agent. Remember how the most dangerous plays start in this game, or in this deck, for instance, is coming from having 2 Spiral monsters on the field, going into Double Helix, and then getting out of control from there. And that is all I got for this video. I will try to put more deck profiles up in the coming week and other really hot discussions as well. So do you actually agree with some of the stuff I've said, or do I just make no sense? Leave it down in the comment section below. I would like to hear your thoughts regarding how Spiral is a tier 0 deck, and we just jumped out of one tier 0 format now into the next tier 0 format. Is that a pattern coming from Konami? Let's hope not, because I really feel like they're actually trying to fix the game for once. Yeah, so anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit me up with a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, hit that subscribe button and notification bell, because, well, you can stay up to date with us. And don't forget to like us on Facebook. If you don't know, we have a Facebook that we always seem to do a daily post of something random on there. Well, go like our Facebook as well. And maybe you'll stay up to date with some of my personal mat business there. That'd be really nice. And as always, don't forget to hold on to MST.TV. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.